Greetings, it's July 15th and just after 12 noon, we've got Scooby the safety dog. He's out there and he's trained to sniff for fires and bark if he smells smoke or the neighbors. He's got his own staff. They're working very diligently and it leaves me time to look around the province. We're looking at DriveBC's webcams. They're a great resource to get an idea of what's happening on the ground. They're updated frequently. Here we're looking from Peachland south towards Penticton, see some haze. This is Spence's Bridge. We're looking north over Arrowstone. Sun's coming up, a lot of haze in that area. Big Bar, looking north towards the chasm, a lot of smoke and haze. It's looking towards the fire at Chasm and up at Flat Lake. And then at Begbie, looking towards 100 Mile House. Can't really see any smoke plumes, but we can see a lot of haze as it rests in the valleys. This is Sheridan, Highway 24, looking west. I can see, again, haze. And we can see another diligent citizen out there looking for spot fires. This is the McDonald Summit. We're looking west and we can see in the valley. We should be seeing some mountains from Decca and such in the distance, but we see haze. And finally, moving over to Tumbler Ridge, I'm not seeing any haze. It looks pretty clear around there. There's some cloud cover. It might be cooler there and maybe give people a break from some of the heat that's been around. I do appreciate the DriveBC system. It's a great resource. It gives me a chance to kind of look around the province. And if I have one suggestion, maybe a search bar so we can type in a city or town or a creek or a mountain and zoom right there. That would be really handy. But the road updates are great and they let you see where access is available. We've got a lot of trucks and machines moving around today, so I'll try to make this as clear and as brief as possible. First, let's take a look at the latest infrared. We're looking at infrared that was collected over the last 24 hours. You can see some Modus orange hotspots. They're approaching to the right-hand side of the screen, Highway 97. It's coming right up to 83 Mile Lake and then a little bit north to Davis Lake. So that was the condition that we were looking at last night. Then when we roll in today and look at just the new infrared that's been generated over the last 12 hours, it's within the same perimeter. It's not as close to 83 Mile Lake and it's not as close to Highway 97. That's a good sign. So wildfire crews were able to hold back portions despite the winds, and there is heat detected in place within the existing perimeter of last night, but no apparent expansion. We do have to be wary of afternoon winds. They could start around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then run as late as 8 p.m. Increased gusts primarily from the southwest, but it's going to change depending on the area that you're at. Here we're looking at the fire that's to the east of Ashcroft. It has moved. You'll notice a diagonal line. It's coming down from top center down to the right-hand side of the screen. That's a right-of-way for infrastructure, and the infrared was approaching that last night. Now it appears to have crossed that. Keep in mind, the Modus can be off 750 meters to a kilometer. The VIIRS can be off 375 meters to 500 meters. So we may not be seeing the exact accurate location of this infrared, but it definitely appears to be encroaching upon that right-of-way. Zooming out and looking beyond to the east, that's on the right-hand side of your screen, there are large forested blocks. As well, we can see the Thompson River as it meanders towards Kamloops Lake, and then you have communities such as Savona, Wallakeene, and Highway 1 in that direction. Let's jump over to DriveBC again and just look at a couple of cams, see how smoky and hazy it is. This is Highway 1 looking west at Savona. You can see there's a lot of dense air out there. And then closer to Kamloops, looking east, barely see the horizon line and the mountains in the distance. That's a situation where if you don't have to be out in that excess smoke, please avoid it. try to stay indoors and somewhere ventilated. We'll jump around to a few spots we covered in the last video. This is Chasm. It's a fire that's northeast of the Chasm Park. We're looking at just the new heat detections over the last 12 hours. I'm not noticing any expansion southwestwards toward the chasm. There may be some northeastward movement into that forested block. We're looking south of 70 Mile House, and we're just south of Highway 97, the Caribou Highway, heading north. It's that diagonal on the top left of the screen. So we can see there are patches of forest that could become fuel for this fire, but I'm not noticing a lot of increase over these light southwest winds that we had in the evening. This afternoon, wind gusts could increase, so if you are north and northeast of this fire line, do be aware. There has been a potential for winds to shift in the evening as the temperature affects where the air is flowing. There was fairly still air north of this location, but keep one eye on the weather vane just in case it turns around and starts coming from the northwest. We're jumping southeastwards now to the fire perimeter around Sparks Lake. It has had some eastward movement to the other side of Red Lake. But in the infrared this morning, I'm not noticing a lot of expansion, and the new infrared over the last 12 hours seems to be in place. What did catch my attention, though, are these two small clusters of infrared. They're moving to the northeast towards Bonaparte, north of Criss Creek and south of Heller Lake. Keep a watch for those if you're in the area. That seems to have moved out a fair ways from the other fire perimeter, so that could be an indication of eastward movement. Moving south down to Lytton, definitely seeing some eastward movement in the new 12-hour infrared. This is the VWIRS, the MODIS. It's moving eastward along the Thompson River on both sides, and it's almost made its way to the bend that heads north towards Spence's Bridge. Zooming out again, I am also noticing the fire that's east of Kiefers. That's the highway north towards Lytton, and it is showing some expansion eastward into the mountains there. If we move eastwards up the Nicola Valley, there's Merritt on the left-hand side of the screen, and then east of that to the top of the screen we see this large block of new infrared. We were looking at this yesterday. That's north of the Chaperton Lakes, Rush Lake, Salmon Lake, and it does appear to have eastward expansion. You can almost see the wind pushing these new infrared. Then south on the Okanagan Connector, south of Penaske, we see a new group of infrared that I didn't notice before, so that's another one to watch for. Check with BC Wildfire. They have a map. You can click on it, go to locations, and find out what they're doing on the ground and what their recommendations are for evacuation alerts and orders, and get more detailed information on the process that they're involved in. This one is a little close to the highway. It has the potential to move to the northeast, so transportation corridors could be affected. Another one that caught my attention in the area a little bit further north, this is south of Kamloops, and you can see a small cluster of VWIRS infrared. This is southwest of Aberdeen. It's to the east of Jacko Lake, and it looks like it's in a fairly expansive area of grassland. So that concerns me a little bit because fire can move rapidly over open areas in a wind gust. So if you're north or northeast of this position and potentially east of this position, be aware. If you're watching from Kamloops, I realize it's very hazy up there. If you have a neighbor that's living in Aberdeen, maybe give them a call and tell them to look south and see if they see any potential threat from fire there. Keep in mind we're looking at infrared, and things change, and these updates happen every 2 to 4 hours depending on the satellite system that's rolling overhead. So often we're seeing it after it's happened. Let's quickly jump further east now. We're going to Okanagan Falls. That's on the southeast end of Skaha Lake. This is new infrared showing over the last 12 hours. We're seeing quite a bit of expansion. It's moving up to the Okanagan Plateau. It's not only bush and forest up there. There's also farms, homesteads, a lot of development. And we can also see the community of Beaverdale. It's about 25 kilometers to the east. If these fires get up on top of plateaus, they have a chance to move quicker. So hopefully wildfire crews can hold this back. If we take a look at a scan of the Thompson Nicola, that's at the lower part of the screen, the Caribou, that's the top part of the screen, and then over to the right-hand side, that's the Shuswap around Sicamous. There are a lot of small fires that have a potential to expand with wind shifts, wind changes, and this gusting that may happen in the afternoon. So access routes can be compromised. Check with DriveBC, see what alerts and orders are in place. I can fully appreciate some of the tactical challenges that it takes to move equipment and resources and people to these different fire zones, all these different fire flanks. And this is only one section of the province. British Columbia is huge, and each has its own unique environment and its own challenges. So much appreciation goes out to the wildfire crews that are tackling all these different individual fires. We've rolled into some screens from Windy. The links are below for Windy. It's a great resource. You can select from different weather station models, 9 weather station averages, 21 weather station averages, and get an idea of what different forecasts may apply. They also have lots of layers, but I like it because it's graphic. I can see the different wind directions in a given area. Here we're looking at northwest coming at 8 kilometers an hour. That's around the 100 Mile House area. And then if we jump down to Tulameen, it's coming from the southwest at 11 kilometers an hour. So depending on your position, which side of the valley you're on, which side of the lake you're on, the wind condition can be different. The general trend I'm seeing, if we follow along the bottom of the forecast, just click anywhere on Windy's screen, a little flag pops up, click the arrow on the flag, and you'll see the forecast for 5 to 7 days. You just scroll along. I'm seeing predominantly winds from the west and the southwest, gusts in the afternoon. Cooling in the evening will slow down the wind a bit. However, on the ECM model, tomorrow afternoon, about 5 p.m., I'm seeing gusts over 50 kilometers an hour. And where you are, again, it could be slightly different. So this was just a quick look at some areas of interest. The Flat Lake fire, no real expansion in the last 12-hour infrared. There is some infrared popping up south of Kamloops, south of Aberdeen, and there's some new infrared along the Okanagan Connector at Penaske. So there are areas to be aware of. You can go to the NASA's FIRMS system. The link is below. Zoom into an area of your concern and take a look. Also check with BC Wildfire, DriveBC, and Windy. Great program. Thank you very much for watching. Be safe. Keep your nose to the breeze.